Hello everyone, welcome to the daily current affair analysis brought to you by Shankar IAS Academy 19th August 2025. So before getting into the discussion, please make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you haven't, please do subscribe and also hit the bell icon to receive on-time update. And also make sure that you will participate in the prelims question analysis that will be uploading in the YouTube channel this evening. Give your maximum participation. If all set, let's begin the discussion with the topics. So the first topic is amoeba. So recently we know that the amoeba Naegleria fowleri, the infection resulted into admission of 2 people in the Kozhikode Medical Hospital of Kerala. And the next article is about E.Coli Bisensor, because recently the researchers from the Imperial College of London and the Zhejiang University is planning to develop a genetically engineered E.Coli bacteria to act as a biosensor to detect the mercury in water. And the next article is about India-Namibia relation, because we can see that we have trying to establish a strong relation with Namibia through cultural and a diplomatic way. And a few years back we saw the reintroduction of cheetah from Namibia, and the Namibia can be also a gateway to India's interest in Africa. So we'll be discussing more about the India-Namibia relation. And the next article is about the measles, because according to the recent report from the Pan American Health Organization, there is a rise of measles infection in the American continents, especially in the North America. So we'll be discussing the basics about the measles, and finally the one-liners. So let's begin the discussion with the first topic. 2 more diagnosed with amoebic meningoencephalitis in Kozhikode. The article is taken from The Hindu. So we know that amoebic meningoencephalitis, it is a rare fatal brain infection caused due to the free-living amoeba known as Naegleria fowleri. And now in the Kozhikode district of Kerala, 2 people got diagnosed with this infection and they are admitted in the Kozhikode Government Medical Hospital. And 2 days back, a 9-year-old child lost her life because of the same infection. And if you take the case of this amoebic meningoencephalitis, it is caused by Naegleria fowleri, which is usually found in the tropical regions with high temperature and warm freshwater bodies. And usually these cases are very common in the nations like United States and Pakistan. For example, in 2011 there was an outbreak of the infection in Pakistan, and in 2014 also there was an outbreak of the same infection in Pakistan. And this is often reported in Kerala also, especially during the time of monsoon and post-monsoon. So let us discuss more about this news article. So first we'll start with this amoebic meningoencephalitis, which is caused by a free-living amoeba known as Naegleria fowleri, which is also known as a brain-eating amoeba. And it is a rare but fatal infection. That means the fatality rate is nearly 95%. So if once a person got infected with this organism, then saving the person is very difficult. And how this infection happens? So like I mentioned, it is this amoeba, this organism is found in the fresh water bodies, warm water bodies. So when the person dives or takes bath in the contaminated water, this organism will enter into the nasal cavity, and from there it will reach the olfactory nerve. This olfactory nerve is responsible for sensing the smell. So what happens when it reaches the olfactory nerve? From there it will reach the brain and it will slowly infect the brain. And another thing, that this infection is not contagious, but if the case is left unreported, then this amoeba can infect many people and it can create an outbreak. So coming to the map, so here you can see that when a person enters into the contaminated water, this amoeba will enter into the nasal cavity, and from there it will reach the olfactory nerve, and from there it will reach the brain. So what are the symptoms? So usually once a person got infected with this organism, usually the symptoms will appear within 1 to 12 days. The major symptoms include severe headache, fatigue, fever, stiffness around the neck, confusion, seizure, and altered mental status. And another major issue associated with this symptom is that it will progress rapidly, and if it is left untreated, it can lead to coma and eventually death. So why this infection is a serious concern? The first major issue is the fatality rate. So you can see that 95%. So once a person got infected, the fatality rate is 95%, and only few survivors are there across the planet. And coming to the treatment, there is no guaranteed cure once a person got infected, and usually we will try the combination of drugs like azithromycin and miltefosine to treat the infection. And the best way to save the person is aggressive treatment at the early stage of the symptoms itself. And the most effective way is prevention. So that means if a case is reported in a particular area, then avoiding contacting the water bodies in that region, or if a person shows any similar symptoms, then immediately reporting to the authorities. So these are the best way to manage. The prevention is the best way to manage this infection, and also using the hot water, cleaned water for nasal cleaning and all. So these are the prevention is the best effective way to deal with this amoebic meningoencephalitis. So with this, we will move to the next article. Scientists turned E. coli bacteria into a mercury sensor. The article is taken from The Hindu. So recently, the researchers from the Imperial College of London and the Zhejiang University found that a genetically engineered E. coli bacteria can be turned into a biosensor to detect the presence of mercury. So in this background, let us discuss more about this news article. So first we have to start with the basics about the E. coli bacteria. So the full name is Escherichia coli, and it is mostly found in the intestines of the animals and humans, which helps in digestion, production of vitamin K and all. And it is usually harmless, but certain variants can cause food poison, diarrhea, and urinary tract infection. And this the organism can be used in biotechnology and genetic research. And coming to the biosensor. So before understanding about the innovation, we have to understand what is meant by biosensor. So here you can see the structure of a biosensor. So biosensor, it's a device that converts the biochemical reactions into electrical signals to detect the presence of heavy metals like mercury in any matter. So for example, here you can see that this is a target. For example, these are the pollutants or the heavy metals. So here you can see the bioreceptors. The bioreceptors can be enzymes or whole cell like bacteria. So what happens is that when this pollutants or when the foreign objects comes in contact with the bioreceptors, it will react. This reaction will be detected by the transducer, and this transducer will convert the reaction, this biochemical reaction, into electrical signals, and finally it will be displayed in quantity. So this is how the biosensor is working. So once again I will repeat, biosensor is a device which converts the biochemical reactions into electrical signals to to detect the presence of any substance or concentration of any substance in a matter. For example, here it is a foreign body, and when this foreign objects or the materials comes in contact with the bioreceptors can be anything. It can be enzymes or whole cells like bacteria. So when it comes in contact with the bioreceptor, it will react, and this reaction will be recorded, and the transducer will convert the reaction into electrical signal, and finally it will be displayed in the quantity. So through this we can understand the concentration of a subject in a matter. So now we are going to see the mechanism or how this innovation is going to work. So first is the bacteria will be modified with the three modules. First is sensing module, second is the processing module, and the third is output module. So the sensing module will detect the presence of any chemical like sugar or mercury in the matter, and the next is the processing module. It will amplify or process the signals which is strong enough to be detected, and the next is the output module. So when the reaction happens, the bacteria will produce the fenzymes. So those fenzymes are special molecules, and this will react with the electrode, and finally the electric reading can be done. And this electric reading can be done with the simple electronics. We don't need any optical devices or microscopes. So this is how the mechanism is working. So it is genetically modified with the three modules: sensing module, processing module, output module. Sensing module will detect the presence of the foreign substance, and the processing module will process and create signal, and finally the output module. So it here as a part of the reaction, the fenzymes will be produced, and it will react with the electrode, and finally we will get the electric reading. So this will be displayed in the monitor as a quantity. So this is how the mechanism is working. And what is the significance of this innovation? First is the self-powered. So we can see that the bacteria will generate the signal themselves, and the next is the cheap and portable. So it can be carried everywhere, and it is cheap comparing with the other biosensors. And the next is programmable. That means it can be altered in the future for detecting different chemicals and metals. And coming to the application, so like I mentioned, it can be altered. For example, in the future it can be used for monitoring the water pollution. That means detecting the presence of heavy metals like mercury, lead and all. And it can be used in healthcare for detecting the presence of toxins in the human body, and finally for ensuring the environmental safety. For example, we know that certain industries will discharge heavy metals and like mercuries and all. So this can be detected using this biosensors. So this will be the application if we can develop this further. So with this we will move to the next article. In Namibia, India shows a new way to engage Africa. The article is taken from the Hindu. So engaging with Africa, a continent which is rich in diversity, culture and resources. So engaging with Africa is not just important for ensuring the development, but also important to ensure the global justice. But engaging with Africa has its own challenges. For example, the superpowers already established their bases in Africa, like France, China and all. So this Namibia, the Southwest African nation, can be a gateway for India to engage with Africa, because we know that a few years back we brought cheetah from Namibia and we reintroduced the cheetah in the Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh. So engaging with Namibia can be a gateway for India to engage with Africa. So let us discuss more about the India-Namibia relation. So we know that Namibia, the Southwest African nation, sharing border with Angola, Botswana, and South Africa, and it is also sharing border with the Atlantic in the west. So coming to the symbolic and cultural diplomacy between India and Namibia. So we know that if you take the case of superpowers, they are already making a lot of agreements and condition-based investments in African nations. But India is not following their path. India has a separate path that is a soft path based on culture and symbols. So we know that in the July 2025, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the Namibian National Assembly, quoting the Namibian poet Emlabo Yonangolo. He is considered as a national poet of Namibia, and also gave a special reference to the Namibian national plant Welwitschia mirabilis, and also gave a reference to the springbok, an antelope found in Namibia. And the Prime Minister addressed the assembly using Oshivambo phrases. So Oshivambo, it's a language spoken by the people in southern Angola and northern Namibia, and this received a lot of applause from the people. So here you can see that the path of India is very different. We are trying to engage in a more softer way comparing with other superpowers who make a lot of investments and agreements based on a lot of conditions. And here you can see the picture of the Namibian national poet Emlabo Yonangolo, and here you can see the national plant of Namibia, and this is a springbok found in Namibia. And coming to the India's three-step engagement with the Namibia. So first is a shared historical solidarity. We know that once the India and Namibia both were colonized by different powers. India was colonized by Britain, and Namibia was colonized by Germany, and after that for some time it was colonized by South Africa. So India hosted first Southwest Africa People's Organization, the first diplomatic office in New Delhi, and also the Indian military, that is the Lieutenant Governor Diwan Prem Chand. He led the UN peacekeeping mission during the Namibia's transition to independence. And the present day cooperation, if you take the bilateral trade, the value of the bilateral trade between the two nations is standing at the value of $800 million. And Namibia is also a part of India's $12 billion African development project. And the key projects in Namibia includes establishment of IT Center of Excellence at the Namibian University of Science and Technology. And there is an Indian wing at the Ongwediva campus, which is funded by India. That is around $10 million grant is provided from India, and the major focus is development of the youth and digital capacity building. And in the field of future-oriented knowledge diplomacy, Namibia is the first African nation to adopt the UPI, and this shows the transfer of the digital framework between the two nations. And coming to the advantage in relation with the Namibia, the first is the political stability. So comparing with other nations, Namibia has political stability. So if you take the case of Somalia or Ethiopia, so comparing with all these nations, Namibia relatively have better political stability and rich in minerals and tech readiness. That means they are ready to accept our technology, and aligns with India's idea of reforming the global finance governance. And also, if we can engage strongly with Namibia, then we can bring up another strong collaborator in global south. So we can advocate for various justice ranging from transfer of technology to climate justice. And coming to the key gaps and challenges in India-Namibia relations. So this is the first time in 30 years an Indian Prime Minister visiting the Namibia, and you can see that outcomes. So we have concluded 2 memorandum of understanding in entrepreneurship and health, and Namibia also joined the Global Biofuel Alliance with India. And the missed opportunity includes there is no concrete agreement on uranium and critical minerals. But you can see that in the case of China or Australia or France, they have concrete agreements with the different African nations. So there is a strategy for resource access, workforce development, and value addition. So coming to the way forward, so how we can enhance the relation with the Namibia. First is we are taken a soft path to engage with the Namibia, that is culturally engaging with the Namibia. That can lead to trust building, ensuring more inclusive methods with giving more importance to the African priorities. But the credibility of these initiatives will be based on sustained engagement, not just symbolic gestures. So the symbolic gestures will not, it is not sustainable, even though it is not like the Western condition oriented initiatives. But this soft initiative will not be, if you are depending on this only, then it will not be sustainable. And the next is the institutional collaboration in execution. So the policies can be has to be executed mutually. And the upcoming India-Africa Forum Summit is a chance to formalize the partnership with the Namibia and also move beyond symbolism to durable cooperation with the Southwest African nation. So in this topic, we discussed the India-Namibia relation, what are the strengths and what are the challenges in it, and the way forward. So with this, we will move to the next article. Measles outbreak worsens in North America, 18 deaths so far this year, according to the Pan American Health Organization. The article is taken from The Hindu. So according to the recent report from the Pan American Health Organization, there is a sharp rise of measles infection in the American continents, especially in the North America. The major reason is the lack of vaccination coverage. So in this background, let us discuss more about this article. So first we will start with the measles. It's a virus infection caused by the virus Measles morbillivirus, which belongs to the family Parmoxavirus. And it coming to the transmission, it is it can spread through air, and we can see that this virus will be remain suspended in the air, especially in the enclosed spaces, and from there it will enter into the human body. And coming to the nature, we can see that it is a contagious infection. Usually it affects the age group of 12 to 18, and that is children. If they are malnourished, that means especially if you are facing the problem of vitamin A deficiency, then they are at the high risk of getting infection. And coming to the incubation, you can see that from the infection, between 10 to 14 days, the people will develop fever, and between 7 to 21 days, the people will have rashes across their body. And coming to the symptoms includes fever, conjunctivitis, Koplik spores, and the rashes. And the complications, that means if the infection left untreated, it can develop into pneumonia, diarrhea, acute encephalitis, and if, like I mentioned, if the people are at if they are facing the deficiency of vitamin A, or if they are malnourished, in that case they are at the high risk of developing the infection. And coming to the diagnosis, we are using the RT-PCR, the same test that we used for detecting the COVID-19, and also case-based surveillance. For example, if an outbreak is reported in a particular area, then constantly monitoring that area. And the treatment, so vaccination is the effective way to prevent the infection, but the treatment includes supportive care, especially the administration of vitamin A. This is focusing on reducing the complications and the mortality associated with the measles. And coming to the prevention, like I mentioned, the prevention is administration of live attenuated measles containing vaccine. So this vaccine will enhance the immune system. So in the future, the immune system will be strong enough to prevent the measles infection. And it will be administered in 2 phases. That means the vaccination includes 2 doses. The first will be administered between 9 to 12 months, and the second will be administered between 16 to 24 months. And another major, in the case of measles, the benefit is that the animals are not reservoirs of this measles. So if we can cover, if we can provide a proper immunization coverage, then we can achieve a very strong herd immunity against the measles, and that is above 92 to 95%. So what is mean by herd immunity? For example, if you take a community, if majority of the people are immune against a particular infection, then that is known as herd immunity. So if we can provide a proper coverage, if we can ensure a proper vaccination coverage, in that case we can achieve a herd immunity above 92 to 95%. That means if we take an effective effort, then we can eliminate the measles. And coming to the Indian measles, so we have a program to eliminate both measles and rubella under the universal immunization program. So we are also focusing on administration of live attenuated vaccine. So like I mentioned, there are 2 phases. The first dose will be between 9 to 12 months, and the second dose will be between 16 to 24 months. And our goal is elimination of measles and rubella, and according to the strategy of WHO. So the strategy is looking to ensure ensuring more than 95% of 2-dose coverage at every level, and strong surveillance. So we can see that the polio and measles both can be eliminated if we can ensure a proper coverage of the vaccination. So in this topic, we discussed what is measles, what its basic facts, and India and measles. So with this, we will move to the next article. So coming to the one-liners, the first topic is Namo Drone Didi. So it's a scheme, it's a central sector scheme launched by the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare to provide drones to the women self-help group to improve the farming efficiency. So under this initiative, the subsidy will be also provided for the women self-help group to purchase the drones. So using the drone, they can monitor the farming. So this will lead to improving the efficiency. And the next is Jadan. So it's a virtual museum builder to digitize the antiquities, the data related to antiquities, and this was launched in 2014 by the Ministry of Culture. The objective is to make the heritage accessible online and supporting the tracking and the conservation of the antiquities. We know that during the colonial rule and due to various crimes, the antiquities of India was smuggled to various parts of the world. For example, recently we brought back the Buddhist relics of Piprava from the Hong Kong before it getting into auction. So these type of issues are there, and still the government, especially the Ministry of Culture, is taking a lot of initiatives to bring back the heritage of India. So this Jadan is focusing on providing the database about the antiquities in India, and also supporting the tracking and the conservation of the antiquities. And the next is the Fit India campaign, because we know that recently, as a part of India's independence celebration, the 35th edition of the Fit India campaign was conducted. And actually, this Fit India campaign was launched in 2019 under the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. And the objective is to ensure the fitness among the population through promoting healthy lifestyle, physical activity, and indigenous sports. And the next is the World Lion Day, because recently we saw that in the Gujarat, the Asiatic lion population witnessed an increase. So, and the Gujarat government received a lot of appreciation for that. And this World Lion Day is observed on 10th August since 2013, and the aim is to raise awareness about the declining population of lion and promoting their conservation. And the next is the World Elephant Day. So it was observed on 12th August since 2012, and the objective is again raising awareness about the elephant conservation and the role of elephant in the ecosystem management. And in India, we hold nearly 60% of the global wild elephant population, and we are supporting the elephant population through 33 reserves and 150 elephant corridors. So these are the topics that we have for today's one-liners. So with this, we will move to the next. With this, we are coming to the conclusion for today's current affair analysis. If you like the video, hit the like button, give your feedbacks as comments, and share this content with your friends. And before leaving this channel, don't forget to subscribe and also hit the bell icon to receive on-time update from Shankar IAS Academy. And also, the practice questions will be uploaded in the channel this evening. Please do give maximum participation. Have a nice day.